Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sills. Hi, I hope everybody's okay. I hope that you are somewhere safe. I hope that you are not stir crazy, and I hope that you're not being any of the idiot people who are like, hey, this is great, I'm gonna go to bars and be really close to people and like put my tongue on stuff and people. Yeah, don't do that. That's fucking dumb. Just like go be at home and enjoy being in a nice confined place where you're not going to get germs or give anybody else germs. I understand we're going into a really weird bit of our semester, and I hope that we can ride the wave well. I'm going to try very hard to make myself available to you guys, to y'all. And if you need to get a hold of me at all, email me or feel free to text me. Just get a hold of me with any questions you might have about any procedural things, or just if you need somebody to talk to because you're trapped in a dorm room by yourself and you're lonely. Man, I'm around, and I got nobody to talk to either except my cats, and that's getting weird. So, there's that. In the series of video lectures that I'm making for this class and for other classes, I'm going to be operating on the assumption that some of you have your textbooks. I really hope most of you have your textbooks, but I understand that a lot of you don't. So I'm going to try to make the information as accessible as I possibly can. Where it's appropriate, I'll provide you with other resources so you can read about the things that we're studying, most of which are classical Greek and Roman ideas anyway. So they're on the internet. So you'll be able to find them and still do some readings even if they're not the textbook readings. So that's going to happen. Now, that aside, the first lecture I'm going to do right here is about speech 3. Because yes, we are plowing ahead. We are getting ready for speech 3. So obviously you have the assignment sheet available to you. It's on D2L. You just need to read it really, really closely. What I'm going to do right now, though, is hit the high points of it and make a couple corrections for ways we're changing it for our coronavirus purposes. But I just want to make sure that you have a rough idea of what's going on as we move forward and as we get closer to it. If we are back in school for it, cool, then you're just going to give it in the classroom like you do. If we're not, then you're going to record it on whatever device you have available and upload it to YouTube, and then I'll grade it that way. But please rest assured that you will be delivering speech 3, and you're going to have a great time doing it because speech 3 is the persuasive speech. This is the speech where either you're going to have a room full of 20 people that you can treat like little puppets and make them do whatever you want, or if this ends up being a YouTube speech, heck yeah, you can persuade the entire internet to do stuff. And that's going to be pretty sweet, actually. The theory that you learn in this unit of the course is designed to, like, let you crawl around inside people's heads and manipulate their emotions and manipulate the way they interpret logic and even manipulate how they see you as a person, because how they see you as a person directly determines how persuasive you are. So this is powerful stuff, y'all. And I'm going to do the Spider-Man thing where I'm like, with great power comes great responsibility. And I know that's a hackneyed thing to say, but yeah, I'm giving you a lot of power. I'm giving you perhaps unlimited psychic power to get people to do with what you want. And you can use that to do great things. You can persuade people to donate to causes, to be better human beings. You can also persuade people to give you money. You can also persuade people to do horrible things. So you're going to have to figure out, just for your own purposes, where you want to draw that line. And remember, I did teach you ethics in the first unit of this class. So use those ethics and make sure you're using your persuasion for good and not for evil. Now, here is the rundown of the assignment sheet, and I'm going to have it in front of me. I strongly encourage you to pull it up in front of you so that you can be looking through it. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those really techie professors that knows how to have my screen at the same time as I have a video going on. I don't think I have the equipment for that, but you've got it. Just get on D2L and look at Speech 3 assignment sheet. Under Content. I'll wait. Hold on. Yes, I'm waiting. Pull it up. Pulling it up? Okay, good. You better be pulling it up. I'm watching. Come on. Okay, I believe you. All right. So the speech 3 assignment begins with a very bold statement that this speech is between 5 and 6 minutes long. It is the exact same length as speech 2. In fact, I think you'll find a lot of the parameters of this speech are the exact same as speech 2. And I hope that makes you feel comfortable. That's what this is designed to do. You're doing the same basic thing, just with a different theoretical framework behind it. And that's intended to give you a chance to try things again if you didn't like the way you did them in speech 2 and you want to do better. So, same length, different mission though. This speech is very different in the respect that whereas in speech 2 you were supposed to be so unbiased and you were supposed to be so like not taking a stance and not trying to get people to do anything or think anything, this speech, man, speech 3, you're doing the exact opposite. You are actively trying to persuade people. You are having an agenda, you are persuading that agenda, and in the end, you should hopefully have gotten people to think or do a thing. That's your goal, to get people to think or do a thing. And if you do that successfully, cool. That means you learn stuff, and then that's how you get an A on this speech. Now, the actual nitty-gritty of the speech is kind of based in the notion that if you just walk up to somebody and tell them what to do, like if you, well, you can't do this right now, obviously, don't walk up to people, you need to keep 6 feet of distance, damn it, but if you were to just tell somebody what to do, they'd probably be like, no, fuck you, why should I listen to you? That's not persuasion, that's commanding. Yeah, persuasion ideally starts off with you telling the audience something they already agree with to get them to think that they agree with the rest of the things you say. And that's what you should do in the introduction to your persuasive speech. You should say something that makes the whole entire audience just nod their head, like, yeah, yes, that's totally what I believe, what I think, whatever. But the trick is, then you spin it. Yeah, let me give you an example. So I could get up in front of an audience, and I could say something like, oh, hey, do y'all think murder's bad? And ideally, hopefully, people are going to be like, yes, murder's just the worst. But then I'm like, okay, what do we do with murderers? Yeah, and then we have like a little hedge, a little room where we can start talking about capital punishment and whether or not there's a place for it in society. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Make everybody nod, because if you're just preaching at people like, oh, you do what I say, they're not going to. You got to get on the same page with them, and then they will listen to your persuasion. So do that first. Also, make sure as you're going through this that you're very clear, that you are so intensely apparent about the thing that you want the audience to think or do. You should have a bottom line, and everybody should know the bottom line. It's not enough that you just kind of have a bias in this. It really takes an explicit and repeated statement of what you want people to think. So if the bottom line of your speech is, you should go to the Humane Society and adopt a dog, you need to say those words out loud. And you need to say them more than once, because you're going to get into a fascinating story about cute puppies, and people are going to forget. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, I love cute puppies, but they don't remember they should go get one. So say it out loud and say it again and again and again until people cannot forget what it is you want them to think or do. I say that because some people with this speech, they get real wishy-washy. I don't know why, but they'll do things like get up and just kind of give us a list of good things about bathtubs, and then in the end you're like, what was that about? And they're just like, oh, well, I wanted you to know that bathtubs are the best invention of all mankind, but they never said that. Right? So you gotta say it out loud. Say it again and again and again. So that's what you are doing, basically. You are getting people to agree with you, and then you're turning around and using the rest of your speech to persuade them of something very clear that they may not have already agreed with. And that's really important, actually. You're taking 5 to 6 minutes of people's time. It needs to be interesting and new persuasion. If you, for example, are getting up and giving us a speech about cute puppies, yeah, if you're trying to persuade us that puppies are cute, that's a waste of 5 to 6 minutes, because unless somebody is a monster, they already think puppies are cute. Yeah, and the same deal with a lot of topics that we've heard about since we were teeny tiny. Yeah, like if you do something stupid like Google speech topics for this, you're going to find stuff like, oh, you should give a speech about why you should stop smoking. And if you do that, people are going to be like, wow, I learned this from a creepy police officer in elementary school. Why are you telling me again? I've already made my decision whether or not to smoke, and I'm good. Different, though. You could spin it to something new, relevant. You could talk about vaping instead of smoking. That's not something people have heard a ton about, and something that's a little more interesting. Yeah, make this worth our time. Make your topic interesting, and make it something that actually needs persuasion instead of something that we all already agree with. Yeah. So, other than that, you're doing the same basic thing that you did in speech 1. You are citing at least 3 sources. And by the way, that is even more important here than it was in speech 2, because damn it, if you get up and you're just like, do what I say, and you don't have anything behind that but your own opinion, people are not going to do what you say. They're just not. They need substantiation. So you are still citing at least 3 sources. You are still citing at least 1 source that was published within the past 3 months. And I really want to emphasize that, because on speech 2, some of you, you forgot to do that, and that cost you a couple points. You want to make sure you have recency here. Otherwise, people will not respect your information. You also are, once again, going to have 2 or 3 main points, 2 or 3, again, 5 to 6 minute speech. You only have time for 2 or 3. You also have an intro. You also have a conclusion. And in that intro and conclusion, you need to have a preview and a recap. Now, I was proud of you guys with previews and recaps on speech 2. You did a lot better with that than some of my past classes have. Don't let that die. Yeah, keep those previews, keep those recaps, and make sure that they're point by point, right? It's not just like, today I talked about bathtubs. It's like, today I told you about the faucet and the drain and the actual tub. Make sure you explicitly name all your points. So there's that. Make sure you do all those things. Make sure that you transition well between points, and it's not just like, hey, now I'm talking about tigers for no reason. Yeah, like give us a statement that says, my next point is. And yeah, some of you struggled with this, and it may feel like overkill to just be like, my second point. But please believe me, when an audience is listening to you, they need roadmaps like that. Like, think about you watching me right now. Like, I'm sure a lot of this information is just washing over you. Wouldn't it be nice if at some point I stopped and I was like, here's my next thing. And then you're like, oh, okay, cool, gotta pay attention again. That's what you're doing when you have transitions in your speech. So that's the basics of speech 3. You're persuading people. You're making sure you have some context for disagreement, and then you're going in and you're taking a stance in it. And the only thing, important point. My next point is very important. The only thing that's changing from the assignment sheet because of all of the virus stuff that's going on is that normally I require this speech be given to a public audience. I'm sure if you've been at Northern a while, you've seen me in the student center with people giving speeches, and that's this. That's normally what this is. In this case, though, this semester, I'm totally going to waive that requirement, because I even if this is going to be delivered via YouTube, I can't ask you to go stand in the mall in your hometown or something and give a speech, because there's a virus, right? And even if we are back in the classroom, we've been through enough, honestly. So don't worry about that happening. So at the bottom of the assignment sheet, when it says something about you must give it to a broader public, you don't. Don't worry about that. It's fine. You're fine. I'll let you know as we get closer the format of the actual delivery of this speech. But for now, think of a topic. Think of a topic that interests you and you think would interest us and is not something that we already agree with. So if you can do that, then you're good on speech 3. Like I said, if you have any questions at all, shoot me an email, send me a text, and I'll help you as much as I can. And in fact, if you want to Skype with me or Zoom with me, we can make that happen as well. So again, stay safe. I hope that you are staying sane. as well, and I'll see you in my next video lecture. Goodbye!